Well, this is the final part. So there was a couple of things I left out in the story point. Um, so I'll just address that in this point. But also, I kind of wanted to talk about the soundtrack and also the future of Naughty Dog slash Last of Us franchise, because I think uh, Naughty Dog is at a very crossroad right here. So I would like to talk about that in a little bit. But first, let me start talking about um, some story stuff that I forgot to mention, or at least not really story stuff, but more of like what I would have done in terms of certain uh, how I would have presented the story. So for me, I would have probably I have so many ideas, but I think one of the ideas I would have had is, of course, put this in chronological order, put the whole story in chronological order. I think that would have been a very fit, so you would have got to understand Abby and Ellie side of their stories even more. Because right now, what I'm noticing through watching different people um, videos and like video essays and people talking about the game from recently, Angry Joe just came out with a review and um, I gotta be real. I did not like. I didn't. I don't. I wasn't a huge fan of the review, but I respect his opinion. Um, I had a lot of issues with that review, but I respect his opinion. Uh, One of the things I notice is that a lot of people are having trouble understanding, or not even just understanding, coming to terms with Abby as a character because of course, Joel's death and whatnot. And I said this in the last video, but um, it's all because of where they put the story in. And I feel like if they had put it in chronological order, I think that would have softened the blow. I also think about putting this game into uh, two parts would have been good. So Last of Us Part Two would tell the story of Abby. Why is she the way how she is? What is the Seraphites? What is the war between the Seraphites? Who is her friends? What makes this girl tick? And how important are her friends? Like, how can she try and save her friends from ultimately a war? Um, that's the story I would have told, and how much she cares about her friendship, and how her vengeance is gonna lead her down a very dark path for her and her friends. And basically, I would go through the whole game. Lev is not gonna be in this game. So it's again all about it is all about Abby and getting to know these cast of characters, because I think that's the biggest problem is that even when that 10 hour, 10 to 15 hours of getting to know Abby, you, again you hate her fucking guts, so you don't like her. Um, hmm. So after that, the big twist of part two would be she's looking for someone, she's looking for someone, and then like you know we get to that scene where uh, Owen and her is watching out the window, and they go outside for the hiking, just the beginning of the game again, and then you see Jackson, and you're like, oh shit, like who is it? Like, is it Joel? And then I would leave the game off with just that, leaving people to speculate who is it that she's looking for, or just go full balls deep and be like, the ending of the game is her killing Joel, and then um, Ellie comes in and see it and whatnot. That's how I would handle it. Um, as for the ending of the game, I think another thing that would have softened the blow of this game is allowing you to choose whether to save Abby or kill her. Let go, forgive her, or kill her. I think that would have been a very interesting moment, an interesting choice for the player, and I think that would have been also a way to really get to really get to see who was really paying attention to the story, and you know where are you going to let this cycle of pain and anger and basically let Ellie lose her soul or her humanity to vengeance, or is she gonna be forgiving? Is that that girl that we care so much about um, to the first game come out? Like, is that the still little girl? I still think, again, I don't really like the way how Ellie is in this game, but I think I'm slowly kind of making peace with how she is. But ultimately, I don't really like how dumb Ellie is throughout this whole game. I feel like, again, she just makes a lot of crazy decisions. But that's beside the point. Again, these are just things I would have changed about the story, um, or fixed, or tweaked. I just want it to flow a little better. I think, again, I think a lot of this game has good story. It's just bogged down by really bad pacing and bad character decisions. Like, characters are just acting out of character, and I think Neil Druckmann, while is a talented dude, I think he dropped the ball on this one. So again, that's wrapping up my story part. Um, Getting on to the music, I just want to give a huge shout out to, I'm not even gonna butcher this poor man's name.
Gustavo Santaolalla.
Okay, I didn't want the Spanish version.
Gustavo Santaolalla.
All right, Gustavo, Mr. Gustavo. Now, if you don't know who Mr. Gustavo is, I'm not even gonna butcher his last name. Gustavo is the composer to The Last of Us. Um, he did the soundtrack for the first game. And if anybody knows me, I am a huge fan of games, music, and ODST. Again, as everybody knows, my favorite um, soundtrack of video games is Devil May Cry, Devil May Cry 3, uh, 5, 4, um, other, of course, like Ezio's theme from Assassin's Creed. Any soundtrack that gets me, like, is memorable, is really good. And I think Gustavo brings, again, his A game for this. I think this time he brings a more darker, more serious tone to his guitar. Again, I'm not a music expert, but the way how he does his guitar this time that was in the previous game is really cool. Also, just the way how this the soundtrack is just um, very very good. Like again, he just brings this moment of darkness, but also moments of reflection, which I loved about the first soundtrack is that it had a lot of moments of reflection, a lot of moments where you're pondering or just relaxing and taking it all in. And this game is no exception to that. It's just got a more darker feel to it, which fits Last of Us Part 2. Last of Us Part 1 kind of had a more brighter one. This one has a more darker tone. Um, to give out some of my favorite songs, so Last of Us Part 2, uh, Longing, It Can't Last, uh, Reclaimed Memories, Cordyceps, Longing Redemption, Restless, Spirit, Chasing Rumors. Chasing Rumors is basically the opening to Last of Us 1 music. That whole thing. Um, they're still out there. Unbroken and Longing. I'm gonna get into those. Um, I think Obsession, Soft Descent, A Wolf's Ghost, uh, It Can't Last Home, Allowed to Be Happy, All Gone, Beyond Delusion, or whatever. So, those are like my favorite songs. Those are the songs I play the most, but the two that stands out to me the most is Longing. That one, and then Unbroken. Two, those are like my favorite out of the album. Um, just this very moments of reflection, moments of thinking back about the whole game and everything. When I think about Last of Us Part Two, those songs pop in my head the most. Especially, and also Last of Us Part Two, the song um, pops in my head a lot. So that also, in terms of songs, um, the cast singing songs like Ellie's Take on Me, um, and the song that Joel and Ellie sings in the credits, I think is really good too. I didn't even know Troy Baker can sing. Troy Baker sounds like a old Western guy in in the in that. I wish there was a moment that there was a duet between Ellie and Joel. I think that would have been really cool. So that song near the end kind of reminds me of that. It's like a what if Joel was still alive? He probably would have sing with Ellie. Um, again, a lot of good songs. To wrap it all up, Last of Us Part Two, good game, but is bogged down by a really disjointed, messy, but also satisfying at points story. In terms of where I would take Last of Us and the future of Naughty Dog, so let's answer the Naughty Dog question. What is the future of Naughty Dog? I think the future of Naughty Dog is a little bit at a crossroad. I think right now they're in kind of a picky situation due to this game being so divisive. I don't. There are certain people that are just generally don't trust Naughty Dog. They think they're part of some SJW, which again, understandable. Also, Naughty Dog has not been so keen on their employees. So I don't know if this is the downfall of them, but I do think, however, that this is just for me at least, this is just a setback. I do think Naughty Dog can come back from this. I do think once the dust settle, Last of Us Part 2 will be looked at a little differently, just like Last Jedi was looked at differently. Just like games like this, or any media that has very controversial things. I think this will be looked back at not as a great game. I don't think that, but I do think the opinions will be different when years to come. I think right now the best course of action. So this answers the question: should there be a part three? A part three is inevitable, people. A lot of people again argues, well, we shouldn't have had a part two, even though there were again there was many fans asking for a part two, and then there were fans arguing against it. For me, it was kind of like, again, don't really want it, but if we're gonna get it, I want new characters. And should they do a part three? Again, it's coming. So, what should part three be about? Again, I think part three should be about brand new characters, just like this. But only thing, more and more focus on those new characters should be very poignant. And then, if you want, you could throw in Ellie and you could throw in Abby. Again, I think that would be cool. I think that would be interesting, but I would just like a brand new game with brand new people, and probably set somewhere else. It doesn't really have to be in USA. It could be in Japan or somewhere else. Um, that's where I think Naughty Dog should go for. I think this is just a setback, but I do think they will bounce back from this. I think what they need to do is just step aside from Last of Us, put this in a back burner, uh, just let Last of Us, leave it alone, focus on the Last of Us HBO, or I think it's an HBO series we're supposed to be getting for Last of Us. Focus on that. Focus on making that what it could possibly be, and then just come back and tell the story. Tell a story with brand new characters and let Ellie be on her way, or if you want to introduce Ellie, come again. Um, but yeah, um, I personally also would say just do a new IP. I did hear rumbling, or from what Neil Druckmann has said, that after Last of Us 2, they're thinking about either doing Last of Us 3 right off the bat or a new IP. Me personally, I think a new IP is called for. I think, again, while Naughty Dog has a bunch of IPs that they could either go back to Jack, they can do another Uncharted. I personally feel the right course of action would be for a new IP, get that fan base up, get that reputation back up, and then you bring up Last of Us and you see how people are. And I hope if they are doing a new IP, I really hope it's not with Neil Druckmann behind. I think Neil Druckmann needs to take a step back and let new people from that works in the office of Naughty Dog come up with a new IP that is really something new and is fun or dark, but I would prefer something a little bit different than what we're used to getting from them. And that's really it. I would really say for them to do. I think right now their future is looking a little skimmy due to this game, but if they can just come up with a new IP, I think they'll be fine. I think Naughty Dog is once again a very talented team. This game proves it, and it would be a shame that they get thrown away because of this game not being received all too well. But again, I think Neil Druckmann needs to sit the fuck down. You're a vice president. Just chill, bro. Just chill. Um, just chill. Uh, other than that, trying to think of if there's anything else to say. Oh, multiplayer. Neil Druckmann, get us multiplayer, bro. Like, you want to make people happy? Give us multiplayer. Like, I want full, full, full expansive multiplayer that will last the test of time. If this is going to be the Last of Us game, which is not, but if we are not going to touch Last of Us for a long period of time, I really hope when they do the multiplayer, which there is a multiplayer coming for this game. That's something people keep forgetting, is that when we do get the multiplayer for the game, I really hope it is expansive and will last the test of time, and will have, seasons upon seasons upon seasons, and will be updated like Call of Duty is and whatnot. And yeah, I hope, again, the future of Naughty Dog is weird right now, but I think if they can do those things, which is new IP, step back from The Last of Us, Neil Druckmann steps back, and the multiplayer be very expansive and very longevity, I think Last of Us will be pretty okay. That being said, I'm gonna leave it at this. I am tired of talking about The Last of Us. I am done. This has been a very fun experience doing this video, but I am done talking about The Last of Us. I'm tired of defending it a little bit, and I'm tired of the game in the general. It is time for me to move on. I think I've made my peace with it. It was never going to be the game I kind of wanted, but in some regards it kind of is, and I'm satisfied. I can live long. I'm not satisfied, but I think I can live. I can live knowing that we got Ghost of Tsushima along the way. So it is what it is. Anywho, this is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoy. If I do make another one, you'll catch me on the flip side. Later.